And it's a pleasure to have you all come out today. It's so nice to see the sun. Last year we had a little bit of rain and had to move our event, so it's really great that we have wonderful weather for our event today. So you're welcome to come in and sit down in these seats here if you'd like, or just move forward and stand. But we really appreciate y'all coming out, and all those that brought their vehicles. We thank you. My name is Tim Trarig, and I'm the president and founder of Guardians Support Center here in Santa Clarita. I am also a retired fire captain with LA City Fire Department after serving 35 years. I want to welcome you all. Thank you. I want to welcome you all to this day of remembrance and reflection for those that lost their lives on 9/11 and the many that have died since. We will never forget. I'd like to invite up, as we begin this ceremony of remembrance and reflection, my friend and pastor, Pastor Jared Ming of Higher Vision Church, to do the invocation. Pastor Jared and Higher Vision Church has supported our veterans, military, law enforcement, and firefighters and our community for many years, and we greatly appreciate Pastor Jared Ming.
Thank you to everyone who's here today. I appreciate you taking time. You know, we live in a culture that has kind of forgotten the principle of honor. And it's easy to focus on our own agenda, our lives, our families, but not realize the Bible teaches us this, that we're to give honor where honor is due. And today we want to honor those that serve, the first responders, military, all those involved, and we want to remember the sacrifices they make. Before we take a moment and pray, though, I just want to say how much I appreciate Tim, the Guardians, for their heart to help this community. How many know that they need our support? They need each other's support. And so today, for doing what they do, not just for this event, but literally every week, they're gathering, they're bringing support to the family members, to each other. Can we just honor them with a hand clap of appreciation for all that they've done, putting this together? Thank you, Tim. Thank you, leadership team of Guardians and all those who are involved. And also, thank you to all the people that have come and helped support, whether it's bringing a car or volunteering, or we're just thankful that you took the time today. I'll say one last thing before we pray, and that is that, you know, really what this represents is people who have the heart of a hero. And what a hero is, the Bible tells us pretty clearly, is there's greater love has no man than this, that's someone who's willing to lay down their life for someone else. That's what a hero is. And here's the good news. I know we're in a culture where a lot of crazy things are happening, but as long as heroes are alive, how many know hope is alive? And this represents hope for the future, hope for our nation, hope for the next generation. And so today, would you all just bow your heads as we begin with a word of prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, we come today with humble hearts. Lord, I think many of us who are old enough to know, we remember the moment. We know where we were at. We know what we were doing on September 11, 2001. Lord, I'll never forget it. And Lord, today we don't want to forget what took place in our nation and those who rose to the occasion. I'm reminded, God, of a president who mentioned that the Chinese symbol for challenge has two meanings. It also can mean opportunity. And in the midst of the ashes and the discouragement and the evil that all took place on that day, there was an opportunity for people to step up, to rise, and they did. And we thank you for them. Lord, I want to pray for all of those that were involved in 9/11, those that have since been involved to serve others. I want to pray that your hand of grace will be upon them. I want to pray for those that have lost family members, Lord, that people that have made the ultimate sacrifice, and Lord, their families have also paid a price for that. I want to pray for your peace to bring comfort to every heart. Lord, bring healing as they heal. Lord, we also pray for all of those who are serving now in some capacity. Lord, we know that, Lord, they're ministers of heaven when they go to give a cup of water or to take care of someone in need or to go into a burning building or whatever it might be. And Lord, as they go, we ask that your grace and protection would be on them. Lord, put angels around them to help them and guide them so they make wise decisions in the moment. Lord, and today as we remember, Lord, the sacrifice, we also celebrate and thank you for the heart of those, Lord, that are here today and those that serve all over this nation. Lord, bless them. We honor them today. And we pray that your favor would be upon their life. Lord, we thank you for this event. Bless it. Let it be a wonderful morning. We give you the glory and praise. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you all.
Would you please stand for the presentation of colors by the Young Marines of Santa Clarita? Remain standing for the singing of the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the lead singer for Tower of Power's East Bay Soul, opening artist for Jay Leno, international award-winning jazz and soul recording artist, Santa Clarita resident and U.S. Navy veteran. Let us give a warm welcome to Terrell Edwards singing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to invite up Fred Arnold. Fred Arnold is a community leader, speaker, coach, and mortgage professional in real estate and mortgage banking industry. Fred is also very involved in our community and has served on numerous charitable organizations, currently including the Child and Family Center Board, COC Foundation Board, and the SCV Disaster Coalition. Please welcome Fred Arnold.
Thank you. Please join me in singing the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like now to invite up Congressman Mike Garcia to say a few words.
I'm going to try to walk around here a little bit if we can. How you guys doing? Good. Beautiful morning, huh? Last year we got rain delayed for a couple weeks, so thank God for beautiful weather. A little bit cooler last week, and I think we got hoodwinked with the cool weather. It's warming up. I want to first of all thank Tim and the Guardians. This is a group that started off small and has become something much bigger than the sum of all of the parts that we see here, and giving back to our first responders, giving resources in any form to those who provide the security blanket to us as Americans is probably the most noble mission that we could be doing right now. And I want to thank you guys for sticking with it. There's a lot of organizations that fizzle out. They start off with the mission, they get about halfway through it, and then they kind of fizzle out. This is not one of these groups. You guys have organized well. I want to thank the sponsors, KHTS and everyone else here. But it's because of the hard work of these veterans who understand the mission. So, Tim, thank you for everything you've done. It's hard to believe it's been 22 years since 9/11, which is when you start really looking at what that means in terms of a generational gap of knowledge, right, and a generational gap of experience that kids now who are as old as 25, 26 years old don't really remember, if they were alive even, the events that unfolded on 9/11 in 2001. We all saw the towers being hit. We couldn't believe it. We saw the towers coming down, and I remember my first instinct when I saw those towers coming down was, this can't be real. Those things aren't meant to fall, and we're the United States of America. We don't get attacked like this, right? It wasn't since Pearl Harbor where we had such an attack on our home soil. It was unbelievable, and to see Americans make the decision as to whether they jump out of a 70th story window and fall to their death or stay there and burn to death was absolutely atrocious. So I think it's important that when we get together for these events, that we don't forget that day, and we don't forget the firefighters and the police that actually ran into those buildings as they were collapsing to try to save American lives. That is, as the pastor said, the most passionate form of love is to give your life for someone else. And so many hundreds and thousands of people sacrificed so many. And it wasn't just the day of the event, the cancers and the medical treatments and issues that many of these folks had after that terrible day ended up killing even more first responders. So we can't forget that. It's like forgetting our history if we don't remember what happened on 9/11, if we don't remember that we aren't invulnerable as Americans, if we forget that there are truly people out there that hate us. They don't hate you because of the color of your skin. They don't hate you because of your religion. They actually hate you because you are an American. That sounds weird, but I've fought these people. I've served overseas in a war against people who literally wanted to kill us because we were simply Americans and we enjoyed freedoms that no other country in the history of this planet, not just today, but in the history of this planet, have enjoyed. It's why we are so special. That Constitution, that thing that every single one of these veterans raised their hand to defend, to give their life potentially in support of, is what makes us precious. And we can't forget that. It not only makes us precious, but it makes us the target of evil. And if you don't think evil exists, go watch the tapes from 9/11 in 2001 and you'll remember. Can all the veterans raise your hand real quick while we're on this topic? Thank you, guys. I've been traveling the district over the last 6 weeks while we've been out of recess. I've been visiting all of the local police departments and sheriffs, the highway patrol. I was actually at a fire station up in Lancaster yesterday. And our police officers are suffering right now on the heels of this crazy, out-of-control defund the police movement. and this culture war against police that's gone on now for a few years, we're seeing record low retention. We're seeing guys retire years earlier than they would have. We're seeing no classes being started at the sheriff's academies because of the politics at the county level. And what I remind the sheriffs and the LAPD officers and frankly all cops is that it's not a big percentage of people that are not on your side. I would submit that, especially here in Santa Clarita, 99%, maybe even higher than that, actually support law enforcement. The challenge we have is, and I know 100% of you guys do here today, so that's not me questioning that. I'm going to ask that one guy to stand up here. By the way, this is the most secure place in the country right now, so this is fantastic. But that's what it comes down to. It comes down to security, right? And security doesn't know party allegiances. It doesn't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, a liberal or a conservative. Well, we all want security. When we dial 911, we're in extremis, and we want security. We want the cavalry to arrive and give us that security blanket that we pay for as taxpayers, but we expect from our government. And now, the challenge we have in this country right now, and I would say even more so in this state, and I would say even more so in this county, is that unfortunately that 1% are also, in many cases, not all, but in many cases, are also elected officials. And it is, to me, one of the most shameful things to be elected to office and not want to take care of your constituents, to not want to give them that security blanket, to not want to give them the fundamental rights that they deserve as the Constitution prescribes. And we see that. We have seen elected officials in this state and at the county defund the police. We've seen them pass legislation that allows felons to get out early, to allow murderers to get out earlier. And we're now seeing the repercussions of that with record high crime. So this is the problem. The problem isn't the 99 or higher percent of us who support the first responders. The problem are the elected officials who don't understand what that really means and the sacrifices that our troops make on a daily basis and our first responders. So that's what I want you guys to pay attention to. And don't make it about party politics. This has unfortunately gotten way too political. It's about that fundamental security that we all desire and we all crave. I don't brag about myself. I hate talking about myself, but I think it's important to talk about what we've done through my office for our troops specifically. By the way, for our veterans, if you guys have any issues with the VA or the IRS or Social Security, we've helped over 500 veterans here just in the last couple of years, and literally, I think it's close to $5 million of compensation, disability, and relief on debts that the government said you owed. So if you're knocking your head against the wall with a VA or any government agency, just call our office and we'll take care of you, okay? That's a good one. But from a legislative perspective, I want to talk about it because it's very important. It's actually kind of cool, and I still pinch myself that we have been able to get some of this stuff done in a very toxic environment, very partisan environment. When I was in the minority, I wrote a bill called the Spouse Licensing Relief Act, which basically allows the spouse of an active duty member to not have to get recertified in a new state if they get orders, say, from Virginia to California, and that spouse is a real estate agent, a nurse, a teacher, a doctor. The spouse, under the old laws, had to get recertified, which in California can be thousands of dollars, can take over a year in some cases. And that service member is usually only at Edwards Air Force Base for 2 to 3 years. So in many cases they didn't do that, and they went down to a single income family. And you guys know the pay sucks right now in the military compared to their civilian counterparts, especially with inflation. So going down to a single income family in California was backbreaking. And I wrote this bill. I got a Democrat co-sponsor named Salud Carvajal, who's not crazy. He's from Santa Barbara. He's a good guy, former Marine, or I guess Marine, however you say it, right? And he helped lead this through while he was in the majority. We got it passed last December, and then the president actually signed it into law back in January of this year. So that is a huge deal for the active side. But it's not just about spouse income, it's about the active duty members' income as well. The other bill I wrote earlier this year that will get passed, hopefully before the end of the year, is to take the starting salary from $22,000 a year for an E1, which is crazy to think about, but that's what they start off at, $22,000 a year to go on deployment, be away from your family, put your life on the line, and live under some of these tough conditions. We pay them $22,000 a year. So I rewrote the pay table cell by cell myself at my desk for a couple days, and now it's going to start at $31,200, which is at least equivalent to that $15 an hour sort of recognized minimum wage at the federal level. It's still not where I think it should be, but this will be about a 40% increase in starting salary for our troops, and then that will ripple all the way up through the E6 ranks. And it'll be the largest pay raise in the history of the country for our troops. So I'm very proud of that. I believe that's going to pass, and I'm actually kind of hopeful someone fights it, because this would be a very fun public fight and debate to have. But God bless that senator who doesn't want to pay our troops what they deserve. We'll go explain it to him in person if we have to. But so I say that because I want you guys to know that we are literally pulling every lever we can to support our troops right now. And it's important because those folks become law enforcement officers. They become firefighters, and it's one giant community of first responders and military that we need to support. And I say that because we are right now in the midst of record low retention, record low recruiting. When you go talk to the recruiters here, even locally, they're missing their numbers by huge margins. And it's because of three reasons. And not many people talk about the reasons, but I want to discuss this three-legged stool. One is pay and compensation, which we've been addressing through what I've talked about earlier with those pieces of legislation. The second thing is quality of life. And to be in the military right now, on base or on an aircraft carrier, you're making sacrifices in quality of life. And what we need to be doing is making that a little less painful for our troops. It's always going to suck to be on deployment. It's always going to be tough to be on a 10-month deployment on an aircraft carrier. But there are things that we can do to enhance quality of life, and that should, again, be nonpartisan. But the third thing is probably the most important thing, and I think the most damning thing right now, and that's a lack of leadership. This executive branch, not to get too political, but has not inspired a generation to want to serve their country. They are not taking care of our troops. In the wake of Afghanistan, we saw. Ironically, he set the withdrawal date as 9/11, which was repulsive to me. But we saw a commander-in-chief set an unconditional withdrawal with a prescribed date, execute it actually earlier than he said he was going to do it, abandon Bagram Airfield, which is probably the most strategically important base that we had secured in the last 20 years during the global war on terror, right on the back porch of China. We just handed it over to the bad guys. We released 1,000 prisoners while doing that at 2 a.m. One of those prisoners ends up going to Abbey Gate a few days later and blowing it up and killing dozens of people, including 13 American troops. We see a president right now with an open border policy, and if you don't believe that, he has said it himself. His policy is one that has no borders. And a nation without a border is not a nation, guys. This has become a charity that we are willing to take care of other people's security before our own. And that's what scares me. And so I don't want to leave on a somber note, but I think it's very important that we recognize right now that I believe, and it kills me to say this, but I believe we are actually more vulnerable today than we were on September 10th in 2001. So I need you guys to pay attention. You guys are active. I know the Guardians. I know their families, their kids get this, they understand the values, but we have to talk to the people that aren't paying attention, the people that don't necessarily agree with our politics. It can't be Trump versus Biden. It's about security, okay? It's not about parties, it's about security. So I'll just end with, guys, I first of all want to thank the Guardians. This is something I started, I think, coming out here as a candidate. To see it blossom into this is absolutely amazing. I want to buy that 23-window Volkswagen bus if I can. Remember, they used to be like $10,000. Now they're like $200,000 rigs. But it's an honor to serve you. It's an honor to represent you. I work for you. I would do anything, especially for our first responders and our veterans. I've been willing to give up my life for this beautiful country since I was 18 years old, and I'm sure as hell willing to serve in Congress and suffer all the whips and slings in Washington, D.C. and respond for you. So God bless you guys. God bless our first responders. And remember 9/11. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Mike Garcia. We appreciate you. Now I'd like to invite up our very own mayor of Santa Clarita, Mayor Jason Gibbs, to say a few words.
No laughing down there, Denise. Hey, good morning, everybody. I had like 12, 13 pages, and Mike just kept going, so you saw me in the back just ripping pages out as we were moving along. Before I get started this morning, I want to recognize a few people that are with us today. First, I'd like to recognize my colleague and council member, Bill Miranda. Bill's being here today. Bill's been supporting the Guardians since they first started, and he looks good in that hat. Bill, it's good to see you. And then anytime there is a patriotic event that represents our military and our first responders, and there's a free breakfast, you'll always find Hart School Board member Joe Messina. Joe, it's good to see you down there as well. And a quick shout out to my honorary mayor of Saugus, Mr. Christian. I see Christian hiding down there with his steps. Denise, I see you down there. You keep it down though for me, okay? And last, I got to do this for my wife. We have so many incredible sponsors that are with us today, but I personally want to thank Tim's daughter, Jennifer, because Jennifer represented the sellers of the house that sold us our dream home, my wife's dream home. So on behalf of my wife, I want to thank you. On behalf of me, I want to thank you for receiving my hairline for that mortgage faster than the council does. With that all being said, everybody, I do want to say good morning and thank you, of course, to Tim and the Guardians for the opportunity to be with you all here today. I am the City of Santa Clarita Mayor Jason Gibbs. It's an honor to speak to you as we commemorate those tragic events that took place on September 11, 2001. On this day, 22 years ago, America experienced an event that has forever changed the course of our history. We must reflect and give the thanks to those who ultimately sacrificed their lives for others. Author Geraldine Brooks explained it perfectly when she wrote, quote, September 11th revealed heroism in an ordinary people who might have gone through their lives never called upon to demonstrate the extent of their courage. On that dark day, our home was attacked, not only in the heart of New York City, but on the fields of Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and on the site of the Department of Defense at the Pentagon. I'm sure many of you heard those heartbreaking calls of those family members aboard those planes who were forced to tell their families what was happening and ultimately saying their final goodbyes. Those Americans who gave their lives to save countless others can't and will not ever be forgotten. And neither will those stories of the thousands of first responders who didn't think twice about climbing those stairs in the World Trade Centers to rescue as many people as they could. After the collapse, their response never tired, continually searching among the debris for survivors. Like many of you, the most heart-wrenching moment after the collapse was the sound of silence heard in New York, except for those small chirps heard throughout the rubble. Those small sounds came from PASS devices, also known as personal alert safety systems, which are worn by our firefighters in the event that they are motionless and allows other first responders to find them. That day, 2,977 people lost their lives, and over 350 of them were our first responders. Despite the sound of hearing their brothers and sisters lost in the rubble, our firefighters and police officers continue to push forward and continued to do their duty. To be a first responder takes a very special kind of person, someone who is strong of heart, with nerves of steel, unbending will, sleepless vigilance, and a drive to protect those that are in need. To every one of our sheriff's deputies, our police officers, our firefighters, and other first responders who are on those front lines, you deserve our countless gratitude, and we should all give you a round of applause right now. Thank you, everybody. The days following September 11th showed the true spirit of America. As a nation, we unite despite our differences, and we felt a renewed sense of love and patriotism for this great country. Together, we saw Old Glory fly from car windows, flagpoles, homes, and office buildings across this nation. We supported that new generation of soldiers who quit their jobs and altered their lives to spend long deployments away from their families to fight for this great country. And that was true right here in Santa Clarita. I'm so proud to be a part of a community that gives an unrelenting amount of support and extremely deep reverence for our veterans and our active duty military. So I ask you all, as you sit here today, just take a moment, look around, because those men and women, those heroes, they are here today with us. They are our guardians, and we thank them for our service. So please join me in also a round of applause for our veterans and active duty members with us today. So I hope you all enjoy today's event. Please come check out these incredible cars. I personally am eyeballing the Shelby, not the German-made car that our congressman likes, but that's okay. They're both beautiful. They're both beautiful. But most importantly, connect with your other community members that are here today. And when you meet those first responders and those active military and even those who have left their service, but their hearts are still with those soldiers, thank them as well. Offer your support and simply say thank you to all of our guardians that are here today. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Enjoy your morning.
All righty, I'd now like to invite up one of our title sponsors, who also is an Air Force veteran from Porsche of Santa Clarita, Armin Mansouri, to say a few words.
So I have to follow the congressman and the mayor. That's going to be a tough act to follow. So, thanks for that. I was told I have 2 minutes to speak. I have a PowerPoint presentation presented and a 25-minute speech. So I'm going to speak really fast. I hope you're paying attention and taking notes. My name's Armin. I am the Parts and Service Director for Porsche Santa Clarita, part of the Galpin Motors. I'm also a United States Air Force veteran. Thank you. Where are my Air Force guys at? So, any Air Force out there? With me today, I've got 2 of my employees that work with me. They're both of them are one's Army veteran, the other one's an Army reservist. Proud to have them. They're one of the hardest working guys that I have with me here. With us today, we also have our general manager, Steve McCord, and Annabelle, who is Galpin's talent acquisition manager. So please come by, say hello. We got some pretty cool cars. We got a 1988 slant nose that we restored from the ground up. It's got a pretty cool story. So come by and say hi. On behalf of Galpin Motors, we would like to thank the Guardians for putting on this fundraiser. As a veteran, I can say it's for a noble cause, helping the ones who were and are still ready to give the ultimate sacrifice, our veterans and our first responders. So thank you very much for that. To the employees who are hiring, I suggest hiring veterans. We tend to kick butt in everything that we do. We are loyal and no task is too big. We thrive under pressure. That one I can guarantee you on. If you need help on hiring a veteran, talking during an interview, asking the questions, let me know. I've interviewed countless veterans and I can walk you through it. It's pretty easy. To the younger crowd who might be interested in the military, the Air Force recruiting tent is right over there. So please come by and say hello. Go Air Force. I think they're bringing the hook out to pull me out of here. So with that saying, anything else? Thank you very much for having us out here. Thank you, the Guardians, for putting this event. Very awesome of you guys. Please enjoy. Thank you.
Where were you 22 years ago on the 11th of September? 22 years ago on 9/11 started out for me as a normal day. My alarm went off at 5 a.m. I got up, got myself ready to leave for the fire station, and kissed my wife goodbye as she lay sleeping. Then went quietly into each of my 3 daughters' rooms and whispered I love you to each of them before heading off to the fire station to begin my 24-hour shift. I was the engineer assigned there that day and was responsible for driving, pumping, and taking care of the fire engine. I arrived about 5:45 a.m. I went directly into the kitchen where some of the guys were laughing and talking with each other as I poured myself a cup of coffee. I later pulled the engine out onto the apron of the fire station, as I did most mornings after arriving, to change over and get ready the fire engine for that day's shift. It was not long after when somebody inside the station came out and yelled, "Hey guys, you got to come in here and see the TV and what's going on in New York." What we all saw was hard to comprehend. What had just happened was comprehend what had just happened. Was it a small plane? Was it an accident? All the questions began to roll. When they played back the video that caught the first plane flying into the World Trade Center, we knew then that it was no accident. When the second plane hit, we knew we were under attack. Why would anyone do something so evil? We watched with great concern throughout that morning as our brothers and sisters rushed in to try and save those that could be saved. And then one by one, the towers came down. It became very quiet in the station that day as we all realized what had happened and where so many of our brothers and sisters and many others were when the towers fell. We knew that the loss would be great, and our hearts grieved for the great loss of so many that day. This is where I was 22 years ago. I can imagine that many of you here today can remember where you were that day and the impact it had on you, your life, and our country. I have never forgotten that day, and I never will. During the September 11 attacks in 2001, 2 planes crashed into the World Trade Center. One into the Pentagon, and another, Flight 93, was brought down by some heroic passengers who decided to take down the hijackers themselves after learning that the plane they were on was going to be used as a weapon of destruction. The last few words spoken by one of these brave individuals was, "Let's roll." And soon after, Flight 93 crashed into a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, killing all 44 on board. Approximately 2,977 people died that day. 343 were firefighters, 71 were law enforcement officers, 6,000 others were injured. In the days, weeks, months, and years that followed, thousands of others developed lung and respiratory issues, diseases, and cancer from breathing in and being exposed to the dust, ash, and smoke from that day and the many days and months that followed during search and rescue operations and cleanup. Over the last 22 years, the number of first responders and ground zero workers that have died since from illnesses that are attributed to their time at the site of the World Trade Center collapse may soon surpass the numbers that actually died on that day. There are countless heroic stories of so many brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice that day in hopes of saving others. And thousands of lives were saved that day because of those heroic efforts. John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for a friend." That 9/11 event created a wave across our country of patriotism amongst all. American flags were being flown from every car, business, and home. We all pulled together as Americans who were not going to be defeated by these acts of terrorism, and we were committed as Americans to rise up together from the ashes of this catastrophic event and become an even stronger America. After that day, many would go on to choose to join the military, fire departments, and law enforcement agencies and become first responders, nurses, EMTs, and healthcare workers. They felt the calling. They were looking for purpose. They were looking for an opportunity to make a difference by serving their country, communities, their families, their friends, and their neighbors. So today, we will soon have a moment of silence. During this time, would you take a moment to reflect on all that took place on that day and the many days and years that have followed? Remember how amazing it is to live in the United States of America where we are free. Remember the sacrifices that have been made before that day, on that day, and the many days and years that have followed to keep us a safe and free America. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. As we enjoy our time together today as a community, as neighbors, as friends, as family, as new acquaintances, as veterans, as military, as firefighters, as law enforcement officers, let us never forget that day and those that lost their lives. Let us never forget those families that also lost their loved ones. We will never forget. I want to thank you all for coming out today, and that concludes our remembrance and reflection ceremony. I'd like to thank our partner for the third year in a row, the Goldmans of KHTS Hometown Station, for partnering with Guardians every year to make this event so special. We appreciate you. We'd also like to thank our sponsors and vendors, with a special thank you to our two title sponsors this year, Porsche of Santa Clarita and BMW of Valencia, for supporting our event and our Guardian community. Thank you. We appreciate you guys. I'd like to also thank Feather Signs Printing and Wraps for our beautiful event, directional signs, flyers, and posters. And a big thank you to Higher Vision Church and Pastor Jared Ming for the use of your facility for our Guardian meetings and events. We so appreciate you. Thank you, Pastor. Also, this day would not be possible without the help of all of our Guardians and community volunteers. We have spent countless hours putting together today's 9/11 Patriots Day event, car show, and breakfast. You all are greatly appreciated. Thank you for helping us. We are blessed to have each and every one of you. Finally, we'd like to send a special thank you to our special guests this year, Congressman Mike Garcia, and our very own Mayor of Santa Clarita, Jason Gibbs, Terrell Edwards, who sang our beautiful national anthem, and Fred Arnold for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And thank you again this year to the young Marines of Santa Clarita as our color guard. We thank you all. I'd like to take just a quick minute to share with you a little bit about Guardians. Guardians is an organization created by veterans, military, law enforcement, and firefighters for veterans, military, law enforcement, and firefighters who are active, retired, or in reserves. Our mission is to reach out and bring like-minded individuals together with similar backgrounds and experiences in the military, law enforcement, and fire, focusing on building strong relationships, personal growth, spiritual growth, transparency, and camaraderie. We are a peer-to-peer support that is helping others find hope, healing, and connection. When it's peer-to-peer support, we are all equals. There is no rank in the room. We understand one another, we get each other, and when someone shares, we get it without explanations. We are a brotherhood and sisterhood working together to support one another in living our lives to the fullest, and to not just strive in life, but thrive in life. At Guardians, we do life together. We truly believe that iron sharpens iron. We have weekly groups for all of our Guardians who are fire, police, and military, and a Guardian Wives group that meets every other week. If you'd like to find more information about our organization, you can go to our website at guardiansscv.org or any of our social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram, at Guardians SCV. I just have a few more announcements as you continue on with your day today. We have several exciting things that are happening. First of all, our free breakfast will continue and be served until 10 a.m. Please get your free breakfast tickets at the Guardians booth off to my left. And also, you can get into our opportunity drawing, and you don't have to be present to win. We have some great items that have been donated. The opportunity drawing tickets are 1 for $5 or 5 for $20, and you have a chance to win some really great items. To name a few, and these are from our business partners in the community, a charbroiled barbecue from Lowe's, power tools from Home Depot, 2 free night stays at the Hyatt Regency of Valencia, a KHTS donated San Diego Zoo and Safari tickets for a family of 4. Santa Clarita Marketing Advice donated a Halloween Disney basket and a Spirit Disney basket, as well as charcuterie board. Esprit Decor donated a custom wooden flag commemorative of 9/11. The Good Feet Feet Store donated a 3-step arch support system valued at $1,300. KHTS also donated a great pack of gift certificates to many of our restaurants in the Santa Clarita Valley valued at $100. Then two of my favorite places to eat donated a $50 gift card from Funburger and $25 gift card and pickle buckets from Firehouse Subs. And Healing Hearts and Souls donated a wine gift basket. As you can see, there's a lot of opportunity for y'all to walk away with some really cool items. You can get those tickets at the Guardian booth. Once you get your tickets, you can drop them in the boxes that are in front of each one of those items. You can put them all in one box or spread them out. It's up to you. And then we will call the winners of those tickets at 10:30. Also visit our free photo booth that Jennifer Herring Real Estate up front here to my right to get your free professional, family, and individual photos next to this very cool fire engine that was provided by one of our very own veterans, Jim Konekamp from Fire in Motion. Jennifer also will have a free raffle for a gift basket and some helmets for the kids. We will have an awards presentation also for 3 award-winning vehicles just after 10 a.m., selected by our special guests. Our Promoter's Choice Award will be selected by our Vice President of Guardians, Raul Zuniga, who is an Army veteran and an LA County Sheriff, and our Mayor's Choice Award by Mayor Jason Gibbs, and our Representative Choice Award by Councilman and veteran Bill Miranda. Breakfast will continue to be served till 10 a.m. Take advantage of our opportunity drawing, which we'll announce at 10:30, and have a wonderful day with family and friends. Thank you all.